Something a little different today. Hopefully this will work. Now, check on my workshop. There's some modifications to my Wi-Fi. Let me see if I can make this work. Yes, let's not do that. Let's make it better. Maybe there's some more. There we go. Good morning. Patience to my Wi-Fi. Let me see if I can make this work. We'll see if this works. Good morning. Good morning, people. Good morning. I'm a little late this morning. Make sure my mic is on. Got it. Turn the music down a little bit. All right. Y'all hear me good? Good morning. Heather and Sharon and Ann. Top of the morning, Glenn, coming in early. Thank you. Nice guard. Yeah, this is one of my little porch areas where I grow. Good morning, Crystal. And Brother Augustin and Mary. Good morning, brother. I have a few thoughts today. Few thoughts. Welcome to Earth. Speak the language. Speak the language. I had a great time getting in. Now to drag you. Okay. Can you hear me well? Is that good, Brenda? You had a great time getting in. You mean on Earth, or you mean on the live stream? Good morning, Brother Gal. Brother Gal. Supposed to come visit y'all this weekend in the beautiful state of Vermont. Them bears in cages, man. I don't see no bears out there. All right, I think we get some good signals here. Looks like this works. I can actually do a live stream from this deck, which is what I wanted to do. It's been a hard day. Oh goodness, you get in these live streams. It's not a live stream. You get in these messages from all these people. Half the time, I don't know if they're real people. I get messages, friend requests. They half the time it's that software, it's AI, it's bots. It's not even real people. You just get in these in-depth conversations. It's just crazy. You don't know if you're wasting your time as like a real person. Somebody in a data center somewhere. They always get to a point where they want to ask you, send them some money. Like that's a trigger. That's when you know, okay, I get it now. You know, they're on hard times. But then you feel guilty too, because sometimes you wonder if they're on hard times. So I don't know. Hey, it's hard. Music's coming to an end. I like to try to let the music play out that way, give everybody a chance to do that. We're talking about the languages of Earth, the languages of an ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? And we're a part, what are its root language? You know how people like to say, welcome to America, speak the language. Welcome here, speak the language. Knowing is not the language. It's never the language. King's language isn't the language. I don't care about the King's language. That language, they play with words, to play with your mind, to get you to think certain things and do certain things. I think language is a lot like maybe the media and how they do mind control. They take away certain words. They talk about, okay, yeah, exactly. Thank you. She sent me the article in Cherokee so I can go and get some of my genetics to understand who the people were. But They changed the language. They came in, the kings always delete parts of the language. Oh, so the audio is messed up. It's like real bad. Real bad. Audio is really choppy. That's not a good sign. I want to talk out here with y'all. Let me see what I can do. Everybody's saying it's messed up. All right, let me see if I can make a few. Is this the right headset? All right, we'll try this. Take my headset out. Take the headset off. Grab another headset. Give me a minute. Try another headset. Plus, I got a waterfall behind me. That's making a lot of music. Let me know how this sounds first. All right. Man, I was enjoying. I got my aquaponic system behind me, but I think it makes a lot of noise. I think that cancels some things out. Let's see if that's better. Let's try to do this a different way. Are you unplugged? Are you plugged in today? No. Right now I'm unplugged, so let me know how that sounds. Versus the waterfall should be off. Sound issue still. Okay. How was that? It's not there yet. We got some technical challenges today. How does that sound? Does that sound any better? I got the feeling it's not the aquaponics system and it's still choppy. A little better if I move closer. How close should I get? All right. Sounds like electrical interference. Ooh. All right, let me try my headset. I think it might be this headset. You know what that is? It might be planned obsolescence. It might be because they make these things in China. So Brother Gallon using the big words, increase the gain on my mic. You know, I don't know what that means, man. Speak English. Those are big words, big four-letter words. Electrical sound. That's weird. Let's try it this way. Electrical sound. Never heard of electrical sound. Interference sounds electrical. That's weird. Never heard that before. All right. Let's do this. Let's close our window. Good idea. Maybe it's CPU related. Interference sounds electrical. Let me know if this sounds better. I just plugged in a different headset. How does that sound? Still sounds choppy. Electrical, that's weird. All right, let me see. I might have to shut something down. I was hoping I could get away with this out here. I may not be able to. I hate to shut off YouTube and upload it later. All right, how was that? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Looks like my CPU is low, my Wi-Fi is kicking and open. Oh man, that'd stink if I can't do this out here. Max said planned obsolescence, right? Because they make these cheap headsets. Let me see. Verify is indeed Mexico electrician. Yeah, he is. That's awesome. Like radio communication, the signal is weak and intermittent. So that could be CPU. All right, so I am going have to. I hate to do it to you guys, YouTube. I hate to shut down YouTube, but maybe I'm gonna shut down YouTube. I hate to do it, but I thought you were. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna have to shut down YouTube and see how that goes. All right, I shut off YouTube. I'm being YouTube racist. That's a bad thing, but I wanted to hang out in the garden today. I want to sit outside. I don't like sitting inside. I like to sit outside, get some sun, take it in. Fresh air is good for your lungs. Don't be inside all the time. All right, let me know if that's clearing up at all. If the sounds, the bad sounds are going away. If not, it's a lot better. Okay, it's better. And Ivana put a whole bunch of exclamation marks. That might mean that it's a lot better. Shirley said, nope, not better. Oh, that reminded me of something I won't say. Um, oh, there was a comedian. He said, "What?" Cat Williams. He was talking about try again, didn't work. Try again, didn't work. All right, let's see how this is. How are we doing now? Sounds it. I'm not sure what that means, Brother Philip. Sounds a lot better. Okay, that was it. Dang it. All right. That's too bad. All right. Well, all right, YouTube. I'll have to upload it later. You guys can watch it later on there. So, but anyway, I want to talk about the languages of Earth, right? Because this is where we get in trouble. We always get in trouble talking to people. Right? I got in trouble the other day. I don't have the best grammar. Wait a minute. Some people saying it sounds good. Some people saying it's not. Y'all messing with me because it's Friday. Hey, Brenda, stop laughing. Y'all messing with me because it's Friday. Not perfect, but better. All right. Good. So, and of course, some of y'all saw it. It was just like, sometimes I focus on the grammar. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just trying to get a point across. And it turns this whole big spit, saw the thread all the way down. I couldn't go there. It was too deep for me. My thing with communication is communicate. If you're communicating, you're good. But we get wrapped up in these languages. We get wrapped up in grammar. And I'm not so concerned with grammar as communication. Are we communicating? And I think a lot of the problems we have, a lot of the division and the issues we have is we don't know how to communicate. We're not effectively talking with each other. It's choppy, it's in and out. You know what? Sounds like a cicada. Yes, it is. The girl who said that, Sharon, it's a cicada. Right there, you can't hear him. He's like, eh, eh, eh. So maybe the mic is picking up the cicada. That's what's happening. Like right now. Right now, you hear him? That's not electricity. Who said that? Brother Gal, is that Gal or Glenn? We got to take back your electricity, your electrician license. It's a cicada. That's what you're hearing. Oh, so y'all make me shut off YouTube for nothing. Apparently, it's better. So I'm gonna go back to my original headset because I think this one is slightly better. I think this one might be made in Indonesia, not China, because America doesn't make anything. All right, so we're gonna plug this one. Yeah, the cicada. Yes, it's because I'm outside. But the cicadas are good. The cicadas they got their language. They got their language. They know the language. They're part of the ecosystem. They know how to speak to each other. That's why they make all that daggone noise. We don't know how to speak to each other. I don't have any issue with the sister. I don't have any issue. Of course, she got upset later and called me some names or something. I wasn't even in the conversation, so I don't know why that happened. But I don't have any issues with that. I don't care what people call me. It doesn't bother me. The N word that she used for me, you realize that my friends called me that every daggone day as a child for I don't know how long. That's not a trigger word for me. That doesn't trigger me at all. I just look at it and say, oh, yeah, okay. It's a term of endearment. I guess some people mean it as something negative. It's not my language. English is not my language. I don't know what my language is in terms of like society today, but in terms of just being on earth, speak the language. We have sustainability, right? Is a language of an ecosystem. Everybody has their place. Everybody has their thing. You know, a respect for space. Right? We respect everybody's space. In our ecosystem, you serve this job, I serve that job. Love is a language, right? Having the love for yourself and loving love for others, love for the ecosystem. How about that? To cherish all of it. People who are sitting here thinking, yeah, I thought we were going to talk about some politics and changing the world. It's just politics. And it's not politics. It's all the same thing. If we can't speak the same language, we can't even get to point B, right? Like we're stuck on A. We don't even speak the same language. Like when I was going through my divorce. Good example. Good example. Going through my divorce. And in divorce court, sometimes they don't let the husband and wife speak. So you can't directly speak to each other. You got to speak to the lawyers. The lawyers want to speak to each other. And the lawyers we had, they were lying. They were like making stuff up. They were putting words in her mouth, putting words in my mouth, saying things I didn't say, and deleting things she said to get us fighting, right? Because you can get people fighting, you can make a lot of money, and that's how family court's based. You know, if you can get a husband and a wife fighting in a divorce, or a husband and a wife and a wife, you can make a whole lot of money keeping people fighting. So we don't speak the same languages, no matter where we come from, what nation we're in, what color, if you believe in colors. I don't know what to do with people like that. I love them to death, but you know, if you believe in those things, if we don't have a base language, we don't speak the same base language, we're in trouble. If we're so indoctrinated that when people come to our country, speak the language, but if we don't even know our own language, what are we really saying, right? Like as a human being, you know, do you feel, here's an example. Like they got the kids out the cave and they had the press conference and everybody talked to them and they told their stories, how they survived, stuff like that. Does that make you feel good? You might speak Earth's language. You know, when you saw the pictures of the boys going, you know, playing, and they said they're in the cave and the pictures of the cave and before they found them, if that made you feel scared for them, if that made you pray for them, if that made you meditate or think well of them, that made you send money, that made you do the Elon Musk and make a torpedo tube to put children in. Not that they use that, but if you felt something, maybe you do speak Earth, right? Do you speak Earth? I mean, there are a lot of languages above and beyond that, right? Spanish, I used to speak a little Spanish, used to speak a little Mandarin, English, used to speak a little French. But those aren't human languages, right? Those aren't Earth languages. Those are colonized, national, king lord languages. That's why I don't care about the grammar so much, and I don't care about the words so much. Now, in school, you care about it because you got to get your grades, you got to do your thing. But as an adult, I think we need to focus a little more on Earth's language. What is Earth's language? Do we speak love? Do we speak sustainability? Do we speak look down the road and do things today to make the next generation more sustainable, more secure, more safe? I posted a picture, I think I did a meme this morning of there's an elephant. I saw a picture of an elephant. I'm not sure if it's on my page. I think it's on my page, not on my Facebook page. If you're not on my page, go to my page. About evolving the world. It was an elephant. It was an old picture of an elephant that was chained to some sort of military piece of equipment. And we got it all strapped down, and I'd like to maybe I'll pull the picture up. We got it all strapped down and it's pulling all of this heavy stuff. And I was thinking about technological advancement, right? Like we're not really doing tons of that anymore. You've got elephants and horses and mules. They were replaced by, cars and engines, things like that. So we made a technological advancement. But I was looking at the picture and I was thinking, but should we have ever strapped down an elephant to a tank or whatever it is, whatever that was? We do it and we say we're going to stick with it. It's not a good thing. We think about the horses and the mules and the lives they live, and it's living horrible, and it gets back to slavery on all country of all people everywhere. And we stick with it so something better comes along. Because that's one of the sayings, right? It's the best we can do. This is the best we can do. Is that a good idea? Is it a good idea to let the best we can do ride, right? Like, if we don't speak an earth language, we don't speak misery, pain, and suffrage, not of only just animals, but people, and we wait for a new technological solution to come up before we stop, right? We don't unstrap the elephant. We don't unstrap the human. We don't unstrap whatever it is, the society that's strapped down by a government. We don't unstrap the people from a monetary system. We don't unstrap people from war. We don't unstrap people from genocide. I think it's a bad idea to say this is the best we got. Like we say that about the justice system, right? So, well, this is the best that we've got. That doesn't mean we should stick with it. I think if we speak the earth language, we speak the ecosystem language, we speak empathy, love, kindness, we speak those things, we can make a determination of what's right and what's wrong. Like nuclear radiation, like looking at Fukushima, all the radiations coming in and hitting coastal California. People are debating, well, is it good? Is it bad? Is it within normal realms of healthy? First of all, there is no nuclear healthy radiation. Nuclear radiation in the environment isn't supposed to be there. There's radiation, I get that, but there's not supposed to be nuclear radiation from a collapsed reactor that maybe shouldn't have been made to begin with. And then we get into these conversations of, well, how bad is the radiation? And I never think the discussion, the debate is ever about anything important. I think the media drives that. I don't care how bad the radiation is. I think the question is, should we let it continue? Right? Because you start arguing about, well, you're crazy. It's not that bad. We're not going to die. And they make it an emotional debate. People fight back and forth and nobody asks the question, but should kings and lords be allowed to continue to use nuclear radiation, right? Maybe the question isn't how bad is it, the right, wrong, speaking in earth language for the millions of species that have died, millions of fish and wildlife, and my gosh, countless microbiology and the people who died from the Fukushima fallout. Maybe it's a question of, you know what? The government doesn't want to go to sustainable energy. The kings and the lords, if they just, and they obviously don't because they're not. They're dragging their feet. They don't want to. If oil companies own them, maybe we don't even need to think about that. Maybe it's just a right, wrong, earth language discussion of should the kings and lords have nuclear energy for their kingdoms? Are we evolved enough? Are we just strapping an elephant to a tank? Right? Besides the fact that you're using the tank to murder people. I think it's a right, wrong thing. I think we need to think about what's right and what's wrong. Posted another one. I was thinking of our ancestors. If a lot of our ancestors could talk, I wonder what they would say. Like, think about this. Our ancestors, they lived here. Whether you go back to great, go back far as you want to. And I'm a spiritual cat, so I believe that they didn't just die and become dust. I think they went somewhere. I think maybe they're still here. I think that, we're just part of the system. But if they could speak, what would they say? If they only could give us one or two sentences. And I think they would say something to the effect of, stand for what's right. Always speak the truth. Always speak on the facts. And just let the chips fall where they fall. Because wherever the chips fall, it's the right spot. Why don't people speak the truth? Why do the Republicans lie? Why do the Democrats lie? Why does the left lie? Why does Israel lie? Why does everybody lie? Why does Palestine even lie? Palestinians even lie. Why does everybody lie? Because they want to selectively control where the chips fall. While governments lie about nuclear radiation, they want to selectively control where the chips fall. Why do people who still strap animals to massive amounts of equipment? And I'm not saying don't do these things. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if we don't speak the same language, we're going to continue to have these same silly, silly problems. Just let the chips fall. That's the only reason that we try to select the truth and we try to guide the truth, because we want the chip to fall where we want it to fall. We want the chip to fall where it's profitable for us. We're a flat earther. I love you. I love you. I do. I love y'all. You want the chips to fall in a way so the earth looks flat. And maybe it is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know anything. If you're a certain race, hide the conversation a certain way. I get into trouble for this all the time. Like I said, I don't like these words. I don't like racist words. I don't like guilt, white privilege, and stuff like that. I don't like any of that. White supremacy. I hear it from the other side all the time. My whole life I've heard it from the other side. I'm not interested in that. But utilize those terms to make people feel guilty, to select where the chips fall. And I think our ancestors could speak back from the graves, watching all the things unfold all over the planet. Things that they've learned. There go my cicada. The things that they've learned all over this planet. Watching us today, I think they would say that, doctor, always try to do the right thing. That's what I think they say. I think they would say, always do the right thing, always stand in the right spot, and everything will unfold precisely how it's supposed to. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about earth languages. I'm thinking about empathy. I'm thinking about love. I'm thinking about let me see. I'm still having some interference. Okay. Oh no, I'm not. Okay. Yes, it's a cicada. It's a cicada. It's just a gene cicada. We got to work on speaking the same language. We have to stop critiquing each other's languages. I think when we speak the same language, we can make good decisions as to what we should and shouldn't be doing. Looking at a monetary system, we were talking about that today. Who is it? Somebody was asking me, again, my position on in MMT and Bitcoin. My position hasn't changed. I'm not against it. I'm all for anybody who is against today. But I'm also like, I think that there's a lot of things. Everybody, you fall in a certain position when it comes to trying to fix the problems we have in our societies and the world. And where I try to fall in the space of trying to expose people to things they haven't been exposed to. I try to expose people to hopefully concepts that a lot of you guys are already exposed to, that you're exposing me to get us back to a root language, right, for humanity and for being part of an ecosystem, not part of an ignorant subgroup that speaks its own language nobody can understand, perhaps given its language so nobody can understand it, so they can't group up with anybody else. That whole human farming thing. I try to speak to people who are new to realizing that we're always lied to. I try to speak to the eventual, right, the final picture. I like to think about the philosophy of it. People call it utopia. I don't call it utopia. I just call it the best that I can imagine, knowing that it's not going to be a utopia, but the best that I can imagine. Okay, still some interference. It's not, you said it's not cicadas. Let me see. I know that, well, it's buttons. I can press some buttons. Is it really bad? Let me see. The mic level is, I'm not sure what that is. I think that's just the mic volume. Volume range. That's just the volume range. I know there's buttons I can press. Now the cicadas are gone. So the cicadas all gone. So the little one, I think it might just be at the right advanced mic options. That you can, of course, drop your comments. I'm gonna come back and read the comments. General, yeah, there are audio options. I'm kind of scared to play with them. It's like there's some threshold options, you know, other things. Silence detection. I don't know what silence detection is. I'm not sure I want to play with that. I'm not gonna mess with that. All right, I can't stop that. Hopefully it's good enough. It's not horrible. Sounds almost like a feedback loop. I'm not sure where that's coming from. It's not bad on my end. Okay. So maybe it's just the bit rate. I think I'm broadcasting at a higher bit rate. And so depending on how fast what your bandwidth is, that might actually affect it. Not as clear as usual, but it seems too bad to me on this end. Okay, not too bad. Okay, it just sounds like you're a robot. We are robots. We're all robots. I think we're robots in an ecosystem to a degree. Because what is a robot? Taking down a thought process. A robot certainly is a part of the system, right? It's a bunch of minerals, a bunch of, you know, gold and silicon circuit boards and software. How is that different from what we are, right? We make a big delineation between biological and, I guess, hardware, but really it's all mineralware. It's all, whether it's wetware or if it's, so we are robots. We fit within the ecosystem. The interesting thing, though, is I think robots follow their programming. They're programmed as software to do certain things, and we're not. We're not. Well. We are programmed, but we're not. And this is what I was thinking about a while back: is that we're human beings, and we're not doing our job right. We're supposed to be filling a position in the ecosystem, not dominating all ecosystems to gather as much wealth and greed as we can. Getting back to war, like, you know, that's the thing that we can't ever stop talking about is we're not the good guys. You got to say it every day. Not the good guys. Not the good guys. Every time someone says something about democracy and freedom, not the good guys. They hate us for our freedom. No, they don't. We're not the good guys. They hate us because we're the bad guy. Bad guy. It's who we are. It's our role. It's our position. I'm not trying to show you because I think my bandwidth might be part of some of the sound issues, so I'm not going to mess with it and show you any pictures. But I posted another meme. It's with the drone warfare, right? Like, what's the whole purpose of the wars? The wars are to steal what people have that we don't have, right? We're not bringing democracy and freedom. We're stealing. We're looting. We're killing for things, right? Because we don't speak the earth language. We are not delineating right from wrong. So we basically were, I forgot what I said on it. Something like, you know, we're basically going to kill the bad guys that we made doing bad things, and we don't realize that makes us the bad guy. We are the bad guy. We're not fitting within the ecosystem. We're a robot who has broken its software. Or I guess a better way of saying that is we're a robot whose software was running, and we were collecting resources and working together within an ecosystem as hunter-gatherers, and probably started to go in a bad direction. Somebody made money, and then we're stuck in an infinite loop of greed. And that subroutine just keeps playing, and it's not stopping. It's greed, 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 buy, kill, destroy. Like, it gets worse and worse, but I think every generation it gets worse slowly in terms of war and robbing people and looting their countries. But like the boiling frog, we don't really recognize it because, you know, if you're born in a time where you've never had peace, then you don't even know what it is. Like, it's just normal to you. Like, yep, we're supposed to be bombing and killing people. It's normal. Like, we were born. I mean, there were wars when I was born, but they certainly weren't prominent, certainly weren't all over the place. I mean, there were conflicts and things happening, but it wasn't a regular thing for our country to be in open war with another country. Right? So they normalized this stuff over time. And so we're locked in this infinite loop of greed that makes murder okay. And this earth language, for me, it is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing of accepting who I am and what I am, and accepting whoever you are, whatever you are, as long as it's peaceful, right? I have this spirituality belief, my God, and my God, which I'm not even sure there's a whole bunch of them, but they say that you never kill anything. There's no reason to kill another human being ever, right? There's defense, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna defend myself, but going out to kill it because it disagrees with you is always against the earth language. It's always evil. It's always out of bounds. It's always something a king and a lord wants to do because maybe they're still locked in that infinite greed loop, which is why they get you locked into it through media and commercials, getting you to go out and buy a bunch of crap. I think that military is a good question, right? It's a good question. Should the kings and lords have war chariots? Should they have militaries? And of course, I think the answer is no. I think this is something that we need to downgrade. It possibly was an upgrade to get a military to defend your borders, your nation, or your people, whatever, so hordes of whatever wouldn't come in. But then we go too far with it, and now we're not defending ourselves. We're attacking and killing others. We become the murderous hordes invading and dominating. And so I think that's a place we downgrade. It's like the elephant with the war chariot strapped to its back. You downgrade. At that point, you realize that, you know what? This is a bad idea. Nope, we don't have a better solution, but we can't continue this bad idea. Governments cannot have militaries, period. Right? Like, that's why, like I said, I don't even venture down the gun control topic much because I don't want to hear it. If your government has a military, you have no business talking to me about taking my neighbor's guns, right? Like, because they have a military, they have a standing army, right? They're not allowed to have that. And because they have it, they use it. That saying, if all you have as a tool is a military, then every problem has to look like a threat. And so they go all over the world and they make problems. And that's the whole purpose of the CIA. They make problems. I had a good one. I posted me. I thought it was a good one. I posted one the other day. It was it's like the Ku Klux Klan. And Will fixed it. Will Markham. If you go to his page, I think he tagged me in it. He made an awesome fix out of it. He said the KKK burns crosses. The neo-Nazis, they burn tiki torches. But the CIA, they burn entire nations with people in them. Right? Like, think about your priorities. Just think about that for a minute. We are in full support of those who are really doing the danger and the destruction and the big murders, the real problems, the real hate groups, and the baby hate groups. The ones who very few of them actually do anything that's violent. They say things we don't like. They trigger, our birth selections, right? Our birth skin colors or positions. But they're not really violent people. The vast majority of people in what you call hate groups are not violent people. And their models aren't violent. Now, today they're not. Back when the Democratic Party made them, they were. But today they're not. But the model of the CIA is complete hate. It is complete destruction, devastation, full spectrum dominance over the poorest and weakest people who live around the minerals that corporations want to take. Definite desensitized mass. They desensitize us, Sandy, and I think they're able to do that because we don't speak the language. We don't speak the same language. We're not speaking Earth. Welcome to Earth. We get to Earth, but are we speaking Earth? We're not speaking the language of an ecosystem. We're speaking the language of our own little either ignorant selections or what a king or lord gave us, and then we're correcting each other for their grammar, and we're forcing each other to speak the same language, but we don't speak the same root language. It doesn't matter what higher level languages you speak. If you're not communicating, then it's pointless. It's pointless. And right now, nations don't communicate because putting kids under rubble is a bad idea to some. It's a good idea to others. Kids being locked in a cave, but I think that example, kids being locked in a cave, the kids who were trapped, the world like running to their aid. It's a good example that we do have the capability to all speak the same root language. Don't rob each other. Don't kill each other. And don't steal each other's assets. Don't take their lands. Don't take their farms. Don't bomb their weddings. Minerals, the stuff of stars, star explosions. Exactly, Ann, and that's what we all are. We are all asteroid dust. Everything on this planet is asteroid dust, from money to houses to cars, all of it. We're just asteroid dust collectors. And one of the languages I think of Earth ecosystems, stable ones, are their limitations to how much asteroid dust you collect. That's why I get into these stomach. The whole discussion has led down the whole stomach path in bank accounts, because when your stomach is the extent of what asteroid dust you can store, then there's minimum damage you can do to the ecosystem. You speak the language of moderation. When you don't have a limit to how much you can shove in your stomach because you have a bank account and you shove all the asteroid dust in there, then you unbalance, you create an unsustainable imbalance to that ecosystem, which is why I'm not for monetary systems. I'm not at all. I'm not against MMT. I'm not against any Bitcoin. I'm not against them. Cryptocurrencies. Anything is better than today. I just look at the long, I like to look at the long game, the final picture. And the final picture is, if currency exists, it can't exist between survival of an ecosystem. It can't exist between life and death of human beings or animals. It has to exist on a higher plane. Like the base plane has to be protection of the ecosystem, sustainability, right? That's an Earth language. That's something we all have to know if we're going to stay here, if we're going to make it, if the next generation is going to have a better chance. We have to speak that language. And so we have to limit what we shove in our bank stomachs. We have to limit that. That is causing the problems. We're a part of the problems. Holding out a helping hand is universal. Exactly, Brother Gallant, because it makes us feel good. When you help people, it makes them feel good. You go drop off tomatoes or cucumbers at your neighbor, it makes you feel good. The language of parasites. Yes, Heaven, exactly. We have the language of parasites. I don't know. I mean, we might even have a financial language, which is the loop that we're stuck in, this little greed loop that we're stuck in. But the funny thing, it's easily fixable. All this is easily fixable. It's like our problems are systemic, right? And the great thing about a system is its Achilles heel is right in front of your face. It always is. All we have to do is not use the system. That's it. It's not even complicated. Like, I've got friends who want to go out and march and fight and protest. I don't think that's necessary. Like, if that's what y'all want to do, we can go do that. But a system is easy to collapse. You don't have to force it to collapse. All you have to do is not use it. That's the whole bye Felicia. Bye Felicia. That's all you have to do. Whether it's a political party, a monetary system, a government, whatever, that system needs users or it goes away. All we have to do is stop using it. That's it. Military industrial complex, war, making as much as you can to pay as much taxes as you can to give your government as much control as you can might be a bad idea if that government is constantly taking your rights and they're constantly invading other countries. Money is printed from fine cotton, not paper, FYI. And that makes sense, Sandy. Makes sense. And I like that fact. I like that fact because the whole cotton industry never went away. Slavery didn't go anywhere. It just keeps modifying and shifting to a different word in a language of parasites to get us to embrace the same thing that always enslaved all of our ancestors. I love that. Great. Fantastic. I love that analogy. Let me see. Death to the elites. Well, Kelly, I'm not sure if I'm a death to the elites person. I'm not sure. I don't wish death to anybody. I think that if I were in their shoes, I think I'd probably be doing the same thing. I think I'd probably, I'm not a person of death to elites. Now, I'm a put the elites in a cage. Maybe not a physical cage, but put them in a place where they can have the little toys that they want without destroying our ecosystem. I think, there needs to be limits to what they can do, the devastation to what they can cause. I like some of these ideas about limiting profits, right? Limiting franchising. We were talking about, somebody was mentioning how, I like to say, I'm a localist. I believe in local economy, local systems make for stronger, bigger systems. If you don't have a strong local system, then the bigger system is unsustainable, it's pointless. It eventually is just going to collapse. And the point was, when Walmarts come to town, the Targets, they destroy, big business comes to town, they destroy mom and pop shops, they destroy the local economy, and they make it unsustainable. So I like the idea of limiting franchising, right? Like, what if we had a limit on franchising? What if we had a limit where you can only franchise 10 times? Means you can make a lot of money, you can still do good, but you never will be in elite. You'll never develop a stomach that's so big that you can destabilize a planet and an ecosystem. If we limit greed, like, I don't think we have to do anything, with force and forceful revolution and kill the elite, eat the rich. Well, it's funny. I don't know that I like the sound of that. Some of them a little funky. They eat GMO, nasty in my mouth. But the idea of just limiting what they can do, like what you do, Brother Kelly. If y'all don't know Brother Kelly's a hemp guy. Builds hemp houses. Just building. If we just started building hemp houses, took hemp technology, hempcrete, started printing houses with the 3D printers, you would limit the greed of housing, right? Because now you're printing houses that are costing $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. Everybody can afford one. Then to me, it makes living a human right. It limits how much greed they can have. It limits how much they can stuff in their stomach, their virtual bank stomachs. It slows down our extinction. Another thing I like is question is it a right? Do human beings have a right to life? It's a question that I like to ask. I know conservatives say from a perspective of abortion, and once again, I don't. To me, it's not a debate. It's not a debate at all. Not in my faith. I don't think I have a religion anymore. I have a faith and spirituality based in Christ, but it's not a discussion for me anymore. I just look at what did Jesus do. Jesus had no interest in it. They did abortions back then. Jesus never even mentioned it. It just wasn't a thing. Jesus didn't even go to Caesar and tell people no. So that's not a thing for me. It's not even a trigger word. But besides that, there is a language of our ecosystem related to the abortion topic. If you really think about it, that baby, if it's a baby and if it's a human being, it's still within the protective waters and walls of another human being. And I think that there needs to be a language for self-determination. There needs to be a language that is that person's body. I'm not going to make a decision of force on that person. That's still from an earth, I think. I could be wrong. I'm okay if people disagreeing with me, but from my perspective, the way I think about it is that it's still within that creature. It's within their skin. It's still within, that's a violation to go in their body or to demand what they do with the energy within their skin. I think it's definitely a conversation. I personally don't like abortions. I don't think that I'd ever have one if I ever, if men could have babies. But But a lot of the problems you can resolve with a conversation. Right? A lot of the things that you don't like that other people do in their lives, shouldn't it be more of a conversation than force? Right? Like, can't you talk to the person about, well, if you don't want to have the baby, is your issue carrying it to term? Is your issue just financially and, taking care of it? Don't we solve more problems with having those discussions and fixing some of the financial problems in the world so more people won't do that, like, as opposed to forcing them? Eileen said, great idea, limiting franchising. Yeah, I like limiting anything. Anything we can do to limit how much anybody can stuff in their bank stomach, their bank account stomach, it does less harm to other people. Like another one, another limiting idea I like the idea of profit limitations. What if we limited profits? What if we limited salaries? Everyone talks about minimum income. I'm not interested in the minimum wage. I'm not interested because to me that feeds the same system. It feeds, because if you give people more money, what are they going to do with the money? They're going to feed it higher. They're going to go buy things with it, which is going to dig us in deeper into the same greed problem. But like MMT and everything else, I don't talk bad about minimum income and minimum wage and what is it, universal income, things like that, because there are still those stopgap solutions you got to do to keep people from starving and dying, right? If our ancestors could speak from the grave, that's another thing they would say, is don't let people die. You can save a person's life, don't let them die. And sometimes when I talk like that, I'm talking to a lot of our conservative friends. Who did Jesus let die? Nobody. And if they have minimum incomes, if they have food and those things, then they don't die. Right? And so I think that's what we're supposed to do. I think that's a part of the earth language. Welcome to earth, speak the language. And a lot of that, when I think it comes from the movie, what's the name of that movie? Will Smith, where they go to Earth. I forgot the name of it. They're like flying out in space, and the human race had to leave Earth because some disaster or whatever. And I think something happens to the ship. They're flying somewhere, the spaceship, and it crashes on Earth. And he tells his son, everything on Earth evolved to kill humans. He says, this is Earth. You got to be careful. Everything here evolved to kill humans. And I think there's something profound in that. I think there's something really profound in that statement, because everything actually is evolving to consume more energy, right? And whatever energy is most abundant, that's what, from the cellular level, single cellular organisms to multicellular, are going to learn to either thrive within in a parasitic fashion or to eat and destroy. And this is the whole philosophy behind, the avian flu and disease and plagues, is that there are viruses and things out there that are constantly learning to thrive on most dominant. They look at, well, what is the most in this environment and how do I survive using it? And just as they're learning to break down plastic, it's theoretically plausible, possible, and even factual when you look at various ecosystems that they learn these viruses and bacteria to eat humans, to recover energy from what's prominent, to kill them, and so are things evolving to kill humans? They have to be. They have to be, because our population's exploding. Now, we're not overpopulated, that's a lie. Our population's exploding. It's explosive. And so every day when there are more and more humans and less cattle, more and more humans, less and less trees, then the environment's going to be learning to thrive more on eating what's becoming more prominent: human beings, not trees, not leaves. And so, speaking that language and understanding that, and maybe that could get into having more thoughts around limiting how many births that we're having, not from any sort of a medical approach, I think just you personally. Should you be having 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 kids? Maybe we have enough. The days of having 12 kids is over. Maybe now we're at a time where we should make our own personal decision to have maybe just one or two. We want to slow this thing down for a reason. We were born for a reason. Yes, Norma, I think we were all born for a reason. I think we should spend our life trying to figure out what that is. But when we spend our lives trying to collect resources and stuff money in our bank stomachs, we may never find out what that is. My friend is joining the Marines, and I have half a year to change his mind, and that's rough, Brenda. That's rough. Somebody has a good thread on that. Somebody had a good. I think it was Sister Marietta had a good thread. She's on my friends list. She has a friend who's joining the military, and she asked everybody to comment on on their ideas behind is it a good idea to join the military right now. Obviously, mine are no, but a lot of people had a lot of good comments. It was on her thread. I think it was like a few days ago. It was last week. So maybe go out there, tag yourself in that, maybe kind of share that information with them. But yeah, I don't think anybody should be joining the military now. I think that that's an idea we need to downgrade. That's an idea that it breaks the earth language, right? Because once again, it's one thing when militaries were used for national security, for local security, for home security. The militaries aren't being used for that anymore. They're being used to take other security. And that's something that we got to stop. We're destabilizing and making the world more violent. We're not bringing any peace to anybody. We are killing people. Go join the military is that to me right now. It's like saying go join the Crips or the Bloods. Except for the Crips and the Bloods and the Triads and the Mafia and the Black Nationalists, the White Nationalists, and the KKK, everybody I want to put in there, all of those groups, they don't kill anywhere near. You put all those groups together, and they won't kill anywhere near but the armed forces of the Western governments does right now. It's definitely not time for that. I changed my niece's mind from joining the military. Well, not exactly. I was willing to let her go. She changed her mind. Yes. And that's good, Norma. That's even better. Because if you change somebody's mind, they might change. It might be like a temporary change, and they can change it back. But when you actually let it be their decision, you just give them the information and the facts that they need to make their own decision. That joining up with a group to carry a gun or drive a tank or fly a bomber and bomb defenseless people and kill people on their own land, on their own farms, in their own homes, and I have no right to be there, is not an earth language. It's not related to love and empathy and respect and kindness and self-determination and empowerment. Evolving, evolution. It's not related to any of those things. It's completely related to giving the kings more resources to stuff in their bank stomachs. Yes, and that's another good one, Brenda, is put them in touch with a lot of people who serve in the armed forces. I have a lot of friends who do. I came from a family full of military men and women, and perspectives that they give tend to be, in general, the vast majority tend to be, this is not the time for that. There was a time for it when the military served human beings and they served our country. They don't serve our country anymore. They serve for the politicians, and the politicians serve for Wall Street, and Wall Street serves for greed. It all comes down to energy and our understanding how we should use it. Last word, Brother Mark, thank you. Absolutely. It all comes down to energies and understandings of how should we use it? How should we allocate it? Should we be using this energy to engineer things and to make life better for people, to make life more sustainable for people, to make the ecosystem more sustainable, to go along with nature as opposed to fighting nature, to develop green technologies and roll out green energy devices as opposed to Fukushima radiation, things of that nature. Makes perfectly good sense. It involves talking to people. It involves relating to people. It involves having conversations with people where they actually listen and you actually listening to them. And we don't do a lot of that. So I think we have to really consider whether or not we speak earth or we speak something that's a lot less evolved, perhaps. Speak earth. Welcome to earth, y'all. Speak the language. All right. Y'all have a great day.